Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Now, I say this a lot, and as far as passions as within this kind of EDC sector, the three big ones for me: wallets, love them; backpacks, bags, freaking love them. Why am I going to die? The last one, timepieces. I'm a huge watch fan. I'm a big watch nerd. And I know from my Google Analytics that you guys seem to be watch nerds. The top 20 videos are pretty much all backpacks or bags or watches. And there's a watch that came out recently that I've kind of slipped on, and I really did need to pick up to make some content on because I'd seen it doing the rounds, and it's really kind of excited me as far as where Casio are heading, especially in the watch modding community. And that is why we are here today to look at, I always need to remember this one, it is the GA-B001. So this came out, I think it was late last year, so it really has been a while since, and I should have picked this up a little bit earlier. But there's some great features on here, and that kind of modding side that I know for the GA-B001, sorry, it looked like I was flashing the bird there for a second. The GA-B001, there are a lot of the modding community around the Casio is huge. And these really are very similar watches. They pretty much identical, just maybe with some aesthetics. But okay, let's stop the rambling because I know you want to get into this watch. So let's take a closer look at the GA-B001 from Casio. Okay, so here we have it, the GA-B001. Now, to save some time, rather than Casio G-Shock, G-A-B-B-B-B-B-B-B, you know what I mean. I'm just going to refer to this as the B001 from now on, just because it's just ever so slightly quicker. When I try to look at the screen, hopefully we'll be able to get this in focus and I'll be able to get some of the reflections off there. But for now, really we're just going to have a talk about some of the measurements, some of the specifications. I'd say as far as a recent Casio watch is concerned, I'd say they've gone a little bit more modest over the last few years. I think at the end of the 90s, the early 2000s, they were after huge, garish, bombastic, large watches that were just a huge, almost style statement that were on your wrist. But I think they've started to pare some of that back in some of the watches, especially with the GA-B001, which we will compare this to mainly because they are such similar watches. That yes, the size for this is, you know, it's very common size. So it measures 42.5 millimeters across the face. It's 46 millimeters from lug to lug, and 13.8 millimeters deep. Not the thinnest, but also not the fattest compared to something like the G-Shock King, which is, what's that? I think that's nearly 18 millimeters in size. The straps on here, so you have these nice resin straps, which is one of the major selling points of this, which we will touch on in a bit. The straps are a reasonable size length, so I have a 7.5 to 7 3/4 wrist. Especially during the summer, my wrists do swell a lot, whether it's a hot day, whether I've been doing some exercise. But I've still got plenty of length on here should I need to. It's certainly longer than the original one that comes with the GA-B001. Most of the resin construction that you would expect from a Casio G-Shock, which does help to reduce down the weight, it comes in just at 51 grams, which again is fairly typical for a watch like this. 4 function buttons on the face. It's not one that has a light button here or anywhere else situated on it. They're just on the back, on the sides. On the back here, the module, I'm just having to peer around my camera here. So you have the information around the actual light around the watch itself. The module on here, sorry, I'm just having to peer around, is 5690, and I always read these wrong. I don't know why I read this wrong. Where is this made? It is constructed in Thailand. This is Thailand. I think the last time I said Taiwan, or was it in Taiwan, but I said Thailand, and of course I know that they are completely different countries. Now, where was I? Yes, I was on about the construction. So mainly resin, plastic construction. On the back, you have this really nice. This is a stainless steel back case, but it also uses their carbon core construction as well. So just behind here, as you come off, just to the left here, and on this side as well, and then actually, yes, you can see it here at the bottom. This is where they have their carbon core in there, makes it really nice and strong. It also adds to the rigidity and the robustness that you expect from a G-Shock watch, but also helps to reduce some of the weight as well. Now, as mentioned, 51 grams for the whole thing. Mineral glass on the front, which again is kind of what you expect. I don't know, actually, let's put this out. Are there any, so does anybody know of any G-Shock watches that are out there that has a sapphire crystal display on the front? I know as far as G-Shock are concerned, they want to keep them as tough as possible. And one of the main differences on some of the ones that have a poly, whatever, urethane, whatever the some of the glasses are, all of the G-Shock ones have the mineral crystal just to make it harder. Certain things about, you know, how high it can be dropped from. The strap on this is designed to take some of that force should this drop. It's designed to bounce. And also as well, it does fit in with all of the other G-Shocks in the fact that this is water resistant down to 200 meters. As far as the face on this is concerned, let's just make sure that this is in focus. Hopefully you'll be able to see that this is one of their digi analog faces. You have really nice large analog hands on there. They all have, both of them. So the hour hand has quite a bit of loom there in the middle. Sorry, that is the minute hand. Quite a bit of loom there, and the hour hand is just ever so slightly shorter, but have this really nice sword look and feel to them. Through the outside, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock all have these large kind of double digit not complications, but there's sections on there, and then you can see that we also have points at the times in between there as well. These do glow, or at least they have a little bit of loom on there. I used to think that Casio loom was actually quite good until I've had a few watches recently that really have opened up my eyes as what loom actually should be. If you shine a light on this, it will stay illuminated maybe for 10-20 minutes or so, which I suppose is great if that's what you just need it for. If you're after something that you can light it up, walk away, have a Seiko watch that 3 or 4 hours later it's still lit up. Down here in the bottom right hand corner, I probably shouldn't have picked the negative display version to show this off, but there is a negative display complication here down in the bottom right hand corner, kind of around the 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock. And then here on the left hand side there is also a small dial which tells you which mode or what operation the watch is currently in. Now, I will say the way that they've done this dial, it's actually quite hard to read. It really is, and I will say that that's a bit of a silly thing for them to do. So behind, a little ant on my hand, behind there are crossed lines and then this little dial. So if I turn this dial round, hopefully you'll be able to see that this turns in such a way that you're trying to work out what it is, but at the bottom here at the 6 o'clock position you'll see that there's a small arrow, and it tells you where you are, or at least what mode that it is currently in. So at this moment in time we are on the timer, now we're on the alarms, and then when it goes back up to the top there, that means that it's back into its normal kind of timekeeping mode. I'm not gonna lie. It's actually quite difficult to be able to track what mode that it is that it's in. The letters around here. It would make sense that if it was, say, the modes were at, say, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, or they were spaced evenly throughout, but because of the way that they need to be able to put the data around here, the first mode on that dial, it moves all the way down to 4 o'clock. Then we've got kind of 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and then it goes back up to 12 o'clock. Yeah, it's a bit weird, but really, when you know what you're doing in the information that's displayed here in the bottom right-hand corner, it's not that difficult to use. So using the mode button here on the 7 o'clock position, you can go into world times, and then you can press these different buttons to be able to cycle through the world times. I'm on London at the moment. Press it again, we're now on stopwatch. You've got start, stop, and then reset. You start and stop are here, and then you reset is the adjust button here in the top right hand corner, top left. Again, then takes it onto your timer, so you can set a timer if you want to, and then the last one that's on here are your alarms. So there are 5 independent alarms. You can use the button down here so that you can cycle through each of the different alarms: alarm 3, alarm 4, alarm 5, and then also your hourly time signal, which I think is great that Casio still keep on these watches. That hourly time signal I listen out for, and I actually find that that's really useful. And then you press it again, and you'll hear with the different beep that's then put it back into its normal timekeeping mode. So here, as it stands, we have the seconds, and then we also have Sunday the 14th. But you can change that. So instead of having the date on there, you can press the adjust button, and it will give you the digital readout of what the time is. At the moment it's 12:33. Now if you want to make any adjustments, actually before we go into the adjustments, there's also your light button here, which is at the 2 o'clock position. The light is an LED that bursts out from the corner and spreads across the screen. It's okay, it does what it needs to do, and it does illuminate the face, but I think, like with a lot of these style watches, it just does exactly what it needs to. Part of the settings that we'll have a look at in a second, you can change the length of time that will stay on. I think it's either 1 second or 3 seconds, and you can turn off the beeps as well should you need to. Now again, I'm just having to look past the camera to do this, so apologies if the audio changes, but holding down the adjust button for a few seconds, it says set, and then it will move the hands out of the way. The main reason that it does that is just in case it's a certain time and some of the hands are over this small display here. You just really want to make sure that you can see that. So the first one that it looks at is your location. I have mine set so that it's at London, but you can change those. Time, as far as the auto on here, you can make sure that it updates itself from your Bluetooth. We're now looking at the seconds, being able to adjust the seconds on there. So I press the button again. We can then go into the hours, minutes, so that we can adjust that. Then with the next click, we can then adjust the date. Or at least the year. Then we can adjust the month, we can adjust the day in the month, we can adjust whether it's 24 hours, so whether you want this to be 24 hours or 12 hours. Obviously, being an adult in 2023, I keep it on 24 hours. Yep, shot fired. But what I also like is the fact that you can also change the way in which you see the date. So here in the UK, we have the day, and then, or at least we have the date, and then we have the month. If maybe you're in North America and you prefer the month and the date, you can swap that round, which I think is a great feature. I think more Casio watches should have this feature on here. You can also adjust the language on here. I have this on English at the moment. You can also adjust the ketone, whether you like to have the ketone on or off. Here is the light, so at this moment in time it's on for 1 second, but I can update that so I can put 3 seconds or 1 second. And then I think the last one is received. So the received on this, so this does have a Bluetooth feature, so you can connect this up to your mobile phone, and there are some additional features on there. At this moment I have it turned off, mainly because I don't use that. So just to save the battery, obviously with your Bluetooth on, it will run down the battery a little bit quicker. And now I'm back round to London, which is where I've set my time. If it was that I'd changed any of the times on there, the digital display on this is how you set your time. The analog and the digital are set together. So when you set the digital time, and then press the button on here to say that that's finished. Hopefully you'll be able to see now. It will now set the hands on the digital time that you'd set in this bottom screen down here in the corner. Now, mentioning the Bluetooth on this, so I mean, I've been quite I don't particularly use the Bluetooth. However, talking to quite a few of you, I can see why the Bluetooth is useful. So with the Bluetooth app, you can go on. Certainly if you struggle to be able to see this in the bottom right hand corner, which I do appreciate now that at this moment, I mean, again, I probably shouldn't have picked this model up because it's the negative display in here, and it's difficult to see when you're recording like this. But if you do struggle to see that, and maybe you want to adjust the time, or maybe you want to set some of the alarms, you can do all of that through the Bluetooth app. And then what it will do is it will sync with your watch to then update all of those. Being able to change your location for the on the world settings, you can do all of that through the app as well. And it will sorry, I keep hitting my camera today. I think I'm gesticulating a little bit too much. It will update all of that. Plus, because this doesn't have the multiband on here, if you go into another country and your time zone changes, then it will automatically update this on your watch for you. Or if you're not moving around and you're the type of person that really wants to make sure that your watch is completely up to date and the time on there is as accurate as possible, using the Bluetooth and being able to connect to your watch, it will always make sure on regular intervals during the week that it calibrates or checks the time to make sure that this isn't out of time, and it will put it back to the correct time that it actually needs to be. Now, one of the things that I did mention previously with this is the strap and the face. So this is one of Casio's first watches, because, and let's just take this one off. So I think because they've noticed that the GA-2100 has been modded so frequently, and if you look at the two faces there, you can see how similar these are. Hands pretty much the same, although the sword on this one is maybe just a little bit wider, a little bit choppier. Down on the bottom right hand corner here, you can see they have the same display. And then they have the same dial here on the left hand side, which gives you information on modes and things. As far as the size, the depth is concerned, even the functions between these two, although this one does have the tough solar, I'm sure in a year or two's time Casio will probably release a version of this that also has tough solar, depending on how popular this becomes. The similarities are, it's very easy to be able to see the similarities. But as mentioned, this has been modded, and there are lots of mods that you can do to this. But it does mean, I wouldn't say it's particularly complicated, but to the layperson that really doesn't want to do anything that might potentially void a warranty or anything like that, then it can be daunting. But this really is where the B001 steps in to make it a whole lot easier. This whole bezel is connected to this strap. So the way generally that these work is you have the bezel is a single piece, and then the strap connects to the bezel. or connects to the bottom of the actual face itself. Whereas with this, it's actually a two-piece. There is a line here across this side and this side, so the top part of the bezel and this strap is all one piece, and the bottom half of the bevel here and the strap is all one piece. Should you need to replace this bottom piece of the strap, then, well, I mean, they probably will never sell them separately, but you wouldn't have to change the whole thing, you just have to change the bottom. If you wanted to make it look a bit funky, you could have a different coloured top and a different coloured bottom if you really wanted to. So at this moment, so the version that I have here, this is, I guess you'd call this the all black version. There is an all red version which still has a black display, but the hourly points on here, indices, sorry, these are, they're black, but it's red around the outside. There's also a blue version, which is quite a nice kind of teal blue. But if you wanted to, in future, and classic Casio, you know, they've made this, but they haven't released the parts or the extra bits. Certainly when this was filmed, they haven't released the extra bits so that they can see how popular this becomes. And I hope this is a popular watch because it's a very nice watch. But if you wanted to, so I'm beating around the bush here. So to be able to update this and to take the parts off, there is a small screw here on the on the right, a small screw here on the left, and then you have these bottom two screws and then these top two screws. Now when you get this, it does come with instructions on how to take this apart, but you unfasten these bottom two, which will then allow this to lift up from the bottom. It's actually separate from here, so if I pull this apart just there at the side, here is the carbon core and here are the buttons. So when you are modifying this, it doesn't actually change these buttons themselves, which is why I went for the all black version, because if you went for one of the others and there are some red highlights around here, if in the future I wanted to make this so that it was a funky kind of yellow version, then all of this black furniture around there would stay and I wouldn't have to find a complementary colour. But if you were to unfasten these two, this whole bit would lift up here, similar to here. If you unfasten these two, this section would lift up, and then to make sure you could completely take it off, you unfasten these. And the way that it works is, it's almost like, if I can put this down for a second, so when you put it in, these slide together and then couple together like that so that it pinches, so that when you put those screws in on the side, that locks that into place. So when you undo those, you can then lift them out so that they'll then come apart. I think this is a great feature, and I really do want to see more from Casio as far as the new versions that they'll be doing. I'd also like to see the price of them as well, but I think with a lot of the modders, a lot of the community that are out there, I don't know if this is open source. I'm sure they'll probably sell part of it off so that people can make their own. I'm sure you'll probably be able to go onto sites like AliExpress and just buy them anyway. But I'm definitely imagining a future where Casio will do collaborations with certain artists or certain other companies that you'll be able to then buy the furniture that you'll be able to put onto these and be able to fully customize this to the nth degree. And then there'll be the true die-hard modders, similar to the GA-B001, where if you want to, you can do a deep dive into this. You can take the display off, and you can have new displays. I think when the super hard modding community get into that sort of side of it, it will be a very cool future. But just starting off with being able to change the bezel and the straps to update your watch, maybe in 10 years time, it's just feeling a bit run down. You can pick something up, change it up, and yeah, I think it's a very exciting watch. And I think for the future of Casio, I think this is an exceptionally good start to that. As far as it being 2023, I've not seen the lineup, or I suppose it should, I've seen a lineup of things that are coming out, but I think this is really one of the most exciting watches that Casio has brought out in the last few years. The B001, I think, is a special watch. I think when I first saw it and I saw how easy it was to change things, I was like, oh, here we go. Here's another timepiece that Casio are trying to experiment with. And I wasn't convinced at first, but now that I have it, I hope this experiment really works. There's been some changes that they've made in the last few years where you look at, what was it, the DB200 with the new, what's the display on that? But the display on that should be the future of Casio watches. Because of the huge modding community around the GA-B001s and the original, the original GA-2100s, it made perfect sense that they could channel into that. At the end of the day, you know, they're a watch company and they need to make money. And this is going to be another really good revenue stream for them, and building off the back, I keep pointing the wrong finger because I'm holding this one, but building off the back of the success of this, making a watch that's very similar to that and is a lot easier to mod, is a massive win. And I'm definitely excited. Hopefully from my enthusiasm you'll be able to see how excited I am about this, and I think it's a great step. It's an alpha move on Casio's side to take G-Shock down this avenue, and I genuinely wish this all the successes that should hopefully come to it, because it will hopefully show them that that risk or that gamble has paid off, and we'll see a lot more exciting things from Casio and G-Shock and these easily moddable watches in the future as well. Yes, really exciting, and yeah, getting a bit gushy. Anyway, so what I'll do is I will leave some links to this below. They will probably be affiliate links if you choose to use those. It helps to fund the channel. This wasn't sent to me. This was purchased with my own quids. Quid is the it's the currency here in the Kingdom of Moreland. Very similar to the British pound, but yeah, the Morelandese quid. So yeah, I spent my own quids on this. Yeah, so links below. Some of my social media links below as well. I had something in my ear then for a second. But yes, for now, stay safe, stay Morelander, and stay EDC. Can we get close enough? Can we get close enough? What was the guy in Harry Potter that had the weird eye?
Hello, I'm Professor Dumbleturd.
Can't remember. An itchy leg. I get a lot of itches before I start recording. Weird, isn't it? Shoot! Hi, I'm the Morelander, and I need to do a big breathe in. Should we start again? Yeah, let's start again. Why am I so itchy? Why am I so itchy? I've even showered. Shaved my head. Shaved my legs. Shaved my armpits. No, didn't. That'd be weird. Anyway. Yeah, really nice. I just wish... That's the annoying part. Casio being Casio. Oh, we'll release this. Let's see if it works. No, release it. It will work. But to test the waters, why not release some of the extra bits for it instead of just releasing it and then waiting for people to go, we want the extra bits? I mean, it makes sense, actually, you know, they're building that kind of desire at the end of the day, but yeah. Yeah, it's a nice watch. You can go now. Bloopers are finished. My ramblings. Bye.